Welcome to Reclaim Treasures. This is Kanye. I'm working on red, white, and blue today. I found these three rolling pins at Goodwill one day, $2 a piece, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I cut them in three different sizes, 9, 7, and 5 inches. And I was going to do some firecrackers. I'm measuring what I want to cut. And be careful when you use this kind of saw. Need to respect that equipment. And I cut them in those three sizes. I sand them with 120 sandpaper. Well, I tried to use my plastic wood filler, but it was all dry for some reason. So I'm using the Durham's. It's a good filler. You scoop out what you need, and you use two parts of that and one part of the water. Stir it good. Made it a little too thin there because I was not thinking. I used the same amount like I use for milk paint. So I made it thick enough so it can sit in there. And I filled about an inch or so. I don't need to fill the whole thing. I need to fill enough so I have enough space when I drill to put the fuse on. I made it as level as possible and I let it dry overnight. The next day, it was hard as a rock, took it outside, sanded it, and as flat as it can be. To paint them, I use Imperial by Folkart and Nautical, and from Waverly, Snow White. I'm gonna paint them with one coat and not a complete coat. I'm missing spots. I wanted to look distressed. I'm gonna use one for each color, and I'm gonna use a wet wipe to take a lot of it out. And in the end, I'm gonna sand a little bit as well, lightly, after it's a little dry. Now I'm drilling a little bit on the top to put the rope in with the largest drill bit I have to fit that rope. You can get that rope at Walmart. This is where I got mine, or I believe the dollar stores sell it as well, Hobby Lobby. I'm using a little bit of glue to secure them, as well as the tip of the rope so it doesn't fray. I cut them in about 3.5 inches, but in the end I will trim that half inch off. I think 3 inches are more than enough. Just shove it in there, and I put another dot of glue on each one just to make sure they're secured. I'm getting that thin twine, and I'm gonna wrap it 3 times around and make a small bow. Trim the excess. And I'm gonna glue one of those rusty stars that I have in my stash. I'm also gonna add those berries. I have them in red, white, and blue. And I'm gonna add a couple of each color. And I want to put a tag that says USA on afterwards. I'm not the best at stamping, as you're gonna see. I got those stamps, I believe, at Hobby Lobby, either Hobby Lobby or Amazon. And I'm using IOD's blue permanent ink. wipe the excess, whatever it's around, so I don't smudge my print. You're not looking for perfection. We want it rusty, handmade, secured with a little bit extra glue, and I'm putting in between the three. I should have done that from the beginning, a dot of glue just to hold them together. And this is it. This one I found it at Goodwill for $3 if I'm not mistaken. I'm taking that raffia off, clean it up a little bit. I tried to sand it, to distress it with my finger sander, but it wouldn't budge. It was painted with latex paint, and I tried 120, it wouldn't budge. I went down to 80 to distress it finally. And I'm gonna secure the star. It was a little shaky with my brad nailer. Put a couple nails there. I'm gonna coat the whole thing with very thin clear wax because I want to put an antiquing glaze on top. I don't want it to be too dark. I just want it to be kind of antiquish. This is by Fusion. And I want to make a little bow for the top to put in place of the last one. I have these remnants from Hobby Lobby. I got a little bit of each material. So I'm going to use a little bit of each for that bow. I want to antique the bow. I'm using a little water with a teaspoon or so of instant coffee. Just put them in for a couple minutes until I start turning color. Then I took them out, squeezed the water out of them, and I also had an old towel that I wrapped them and I soaked most of the water out of them. And I dried them with my hair dryer. Now I'm using my Bowdabra. I'm new to this, but I love it because I'm not good at making bows, and this is a perfect tool to have. I don't make big bows, so this is a perfect size for me. So I'm layering them one by one, and then I trim them after I took them out, and I tie the bow with a string on that wire. Putting on one of those rusty stars that I have in my stash. And this is it. That was a simple project. I didn't have to do much except clean it up a little bit and make it my own. Check at thrift stores for items like that you can, make it your own. And I put a few more of those berries that I have in my stash as well. I got them at Goodwill. I had a huge bag full of these berry wreaths. And these two items as well, the heart and the star with the wreath was in that bag. To secure that star with the wreath, I just made the two holes and I drilled 2 holes and I put a wire through the stars, the couple openings that it had, and I just tied it to the back. I'm using that Fusion's antiquing glaze to distress the edge around. And I'm going to use the little one of these rusty stars. I'm going to glue it in the middle of the big one to give it more interest. The next project is about these 2 small tags that I found at Goodwill as well for 50 cents, I think, a piece. Paint them white. I have remnants from that redesign with Prima flag transfer. So I'm going to use part of that I'm cutting the stars, and because they are not completely, they can be centered, I'm going to put them on the side, so the star is in the center, and I will add more of that, the blue on the left side there, as you can see. Now I'm trimming the red and white stripes, trying to center them, see how much I need. And I'm cutting them close to the size that I need. Rub them on and sand the excess off. And that was it. That was another simple project. I had these two ribbons in my stash from Hobby Lobby as well. But before, I wanted to antique all these beads that came with. And I'm using pink Couture Van Dyke brown glaze. I wipe the excess off and I'm drying them with my hair dryer. I'm cutting the ribbons to size with the jute twine that they came with. I wish it was a little bit longer. Kind of deceived me there. So I thread them in one side and I tie them together, made a loop. And that's it. Nothing to it. You can make a lot of cute projects with Goodwill or thrift store items. I get this at Goodwill. I have seen that those lollipops or whatever ice cream bars made in red, white, and blue, and also those pins. So I wanted to try some, and that was the last bag that I found at Hobby Lobby. I'm gonna paint most of them red and a couple of them blue. And I'm gonna put stripes and stars in white. I painted all the pins, as you can see. I'm gonna distress everything later. I mean, I know you guys know how to paint, so I didn't want to bore you too much. I sand them a little bit, or you can wait to sand them in the end, but I just wanted to see how they're gonna look. And I drew lines where I want the blue to be with a pencil. So now I'm going over. I don't want to go over the lines that I drew. Use a flat brush for this. It helps make straight lines. Now on the blue, I was not thinking, and I painted all blue, but I'm gonna paint 2 coats of red on top of it, and it'll be fine. I'm correcting there where I went over my line. And when dry, I use the white paint with a round brush. Makes it look more informal. They look more like ice cream, melting ice cream. Don't try perfection, guys. We're not looking for perfection here. This is more fun. Fun little project. And I only had this size of star, so I'm trying to use it as best as I can on these little tiny ice cream bars. I tap and I go around and I change positions so I don't smudge the color on top of my bars. I'm gonna post a related video on how to clean dry paint out of your stencils. You're going to find that also in the description. If you have problem, it's a very easy way to clean them. I try to make all of them a little bit different, but in the end I end up having two of the exact same. So I don't know how I did that, but it happens. Next time though, I'm gonna cut those bars myself, and I wanted to make them a little bit bigger because they're too tiny. They're cute though. I really love making this little project. We're changing our HVAC today, and Buddy is kind of anxious. He can stay still, so if you hear him scratching the floor, that's what it is. He's curious about what's going on with all these people in the basement. I'm outside in the screen porch with him doing my voiceover, so we don't hear the banging. I bought some of these utensils and I'm gonna do the same thing. So you've seen me and you know how to paint, so I'm have it speed up a little bit. I'm gonna do two of each color, two white, two red, two blue. I'm not sure what I'm gonna put on them yet. I hope you all like these little projects. They're very easy and very festive. You can very easily create a few, and that would be a wonderful decoration for your 4th of July table. I decided to put some molds on them. I'm using Prima's Happy 4th and Amazing Casting Resin, which it comes with two bottles. They're marked A and B, and I always mark the bottle caps because you don't want to mix them. You're going to have a hard time opening them. Now I'm pouring equal amounts of A and B, and I like using these little silicone caps. I don't care to use the ones that come with, because this gives me more accuracy. My B, it's a little yellowish. I have it for a while. I don't use resin too often. I like clay better. But for cases like this that I need the details, I'm going to use the resin. You stir for 30 seconds. It starts cloudy in the beginning, and then it changes color to clear, and then you are ready to pour. As you see there, I had some leftover, so I had poured in the 4th of July sign, so I'm now filling the rest of it, so I can use that. I'm going to use the star, the heart, and whatever is left, I will pour it in another mold. I know I'm going to use it the next time. And I'll let you watch the process, how it changes color. And when it turns white and hardens up, usually it takes 10 minutes. I like to take it out in the 10-minute mark because it's still pliable and you can form it in rounded surfaces. Otherwise, if it is a flat surface, I'll let it dry hard. I'm trimming whatever excess from my spillage there. And I always like to sand the backside of them. I did it off camera because I think it adheres better with the glue and all. If the surface on the back is a little rough. And now I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to use them. I paint everything blue and dry them with my hair dryer. And then I start where the flag shows. I do every second one with a red paint. And instead of white, I'm going to use gold for the other stripes. And that gold is from Dixie Belle. It's beautiful gold. It's my favorite. You just dry brush the stars and they pop out so beautifully. I use the white paint for the fourth of lettering. I dry and I use the dark wax on top of them to make it look more antiquish. Now I'm trying to figure out which spoons I can use them on, because not all of them are gonna have something. I didn't want to make it too busy, since I'm gonna sell it as a set in my booth. So I put the glue on and I used the quick and thick, and I secured them with those clamps until they're dry. Now I'm using gold marker to give it a little more pizzazz, and this is from Dixie Belle also. I sell that in my booth as well. Just for straight lines, guys, this is a must-have tool. Even a little kid can use it. And it's got a beautiful gold color. I'm very particular on my golds. And I let them dry, of course. It's a very easy tool to use for straight lines. Well worth the money, because they're like $12, $13. And here they are, all my projects today. They're all very easy to make for your table for 4th of July. It's going to be a big year this year because of our 250th anniversary. I hope you guys try making some. Let me know which one is your favorite of all. And if you like them, please like, subscribe, and until next time, have a great day. Happy Mother's Day for tomorrow, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.